France, Paris, Bordeaux, Toulouse. 3 cities the world thinks it knows, and almost nobody actually does. And in the next 10 minutes, you'll find out why. Paris. The Paris you came to see was built in 17 years. You walk out of the metro and Paris arrives all at once. Wide boulevards, cream limestone all the same height, balconies and iron lace, a cafe table on every corner, the Seine just there. This is the Paris everyone pictures, and it's also a clue. Paris doesn't look this consistent by accident. Paris is old. The Romans founded a town here called Lutetia more than 2,000 years ago. By the Middle Ages, Paris was one of the largest cities in Europe and the intellectual center of the continent. The University of Paris opened in the 12th century. Notre Dame began rising in 1163. Kings ruled France from here for 1,000 years, with one famous interruption when Louis XIV moved his court to Versailles, and Paris lost its king for a century. Then, in 1853, Emperor Napoleon III decided Paris needed to be reinvented. He gave the job to a civil servant named Baron Haussmann. In 17 years, Haussmann demolished most of medieval Paris. 20,000 buildings came down. The wide boulevards he cut straight through the old city were built for parades and built wide enough to make street barricades impossible. 350,000 Parisians were displaced. And what emerged is the Paris the world has been in love with ever since. Glad you're still here. Subscribe to GoBeyondia. This city invented modern democracy, the modern restaurant. Impressionism, Cubism, existentialism, every major idea of the modern age was argued over a Paris cafe table. The Eiffel Tower was meant to come down after 20 years. Paris couldn't let it go. This city doesn't just preserve the past. It keeps rewriting itself in the same handwriting. Paris is the most visited city on earth. 20 million people a year in a city of 2 million. They come for the love, the wine, the museums. But what they're walking through is a stage set built by an emperor and a bureaucrat to make Paris unforgettable. They succeeded. We have all agreed not to look behind the curtain. The most romantic city in the world is also the most engineered. Beneath the boulevards, Paris holds an older secret. Hundreds of kilometers of tunnels lie under the city, and in them rest the bones of 6 million Parisians, moved underground when the cemeteries overflowed. Even the most beautiful Paris is built on its dead. Most great cities grow. Paris was redesigned. And yet, walk a side street in the Marais, climb the steps in Montmartre, sit at a wooden table in a corner bistro, and you'll feel something the boulevards can't engineer. The Paris underneath, the 1,000-year capital that the new buildings only ever covered. Paris isn't a postcard, it's a palimpsest, a city written over a city, all the way down. Next, we leave the capital and head into the France that doesn't perform. We'll tell you where we're going when we arrive. Subscribe to GoBeyondia. Bordeaux. The world's most famous French wine was built by the English. You step out into a city of pale gold limestone. 18th century buildings, all the same color, all the same height. A classical city facing a slow brown river. The river is the Garonne, and it's the reason Bordeaux exists. Ships have been loading wine here for 2,000 years. Bordeaux is a wealthy city, and it shows. In the 18th century, it was rebuilt almost entirely, turning a medieval town into a uniform showpiece of classical architecture, 100 years before Paris did the same thing. The Place de la Bourse is the centerpiece, a perfect curve of stone facing the water. In front of it lies the Miroir d'Eau, the world's largest reflecting pool. Stone above, sky below, 21st century engineering doing the old city's work. But the real story of Bordeaux begins with a wedding. In 1152, Eleanor of Aquitaine, who owned this region, married a Frenchman named Henry. 2 years later, he became King of England. Bordeaux became English. For 300 years, English ships filled their holds with Bordeaux wine. The London market turned the French wine region into a global one. By the time the French won Bordeaux back in 1453, the world's appetite for it had been built. The English love affair with Bordeaux has never ended. Glad you're still here. Subscribe to GoBeyondia. And the rules that still govern Bordeaux wine were written in 1855. Napoleon III asked for an official ranking of the great chateaux for the Paris Exposition. The brokers came up with one. They sorted the top wines into 5 tiers, with the very best, the Premier Crus, at the top. That list, written 170 years ago, is almost exactly the same list today. One chateau has been promoted since. That's it. Drive an hour east and the city ends. Now you're in Vineyards, the largest fine wine region in the world. At the center sits Saint-Emilion, a medieval village named for a hermit who lived in a cave here in the 8th century. They carved a church into the rock around his cave, the largest underground church in Europe, and built a town above it. Wine has been made on these slopes for 2,000 years. Bordeaux is the rare French place that doesn't pretend to be ancient or revolutionary. It's a city that learned, very early, what it was for, producing one of the world's great drinks and selling it. It was English for 3 centuries, classified by an emperor, and is still running on rules written before the light bulb. Bordeaux doesn't change easily. It doesn't need to. Next, we leave the wine country and head into the France that still feels medieval. We'll tell you where we're going when we arrive. Subscribe to GoBeyondia. Toulouse. The Pink City is built on the ruins of the civilization it lost to a pope. You walk out into a city the color of old roses. Every building, every wall, every church, terracotta pink, warm in the southern sun. They call it La Ville Rose. The river is the Garonne, slow and wide. The light here is different, softer, southern, halfway to Italy. Toulouse is one of the oldest cities in France. It was a Roman town, Tolosa. It was the capital of the Visigoths in the 5th century, a kingdom most people have forgotten. By the Middle Ages, it sat on one of the great pilgrim roads of Europe, the Way of St. James, and pilgrims still pass through. The Basilica of Saint-Cernin, built nearly 1,000 years ago, is the largest Romanesque church still standing in Europe. Toulouse was always going somewhere. And then, in 1209, the Pope sent an army to destroy it. The southern French had embraced a different version of Christianity, the Cathars, who rejected the wealth and authority of the Catholic Church. Pope Innocent III launched the Albigensian Crusade. For 20 years, northern French armies marched south. Whole towns were massacred. The Occitan culture, its language, its poetry, its courts of love, was systematically broken. By 1229, Toulouse had submitted. The civilization that had built this region for centuries was gone. Glad you're still here. Subscribe to GoBeyondia. The conquerors built something on top. The University of Toulouse was founded in 1229, the same year Toulouse surrendered, specifically to teach Catholic doctrine and stamp out heresy. The city was rebuilt in pink Roman brick, the only material the region had. By the 17th century, a man named Pierre-Paul Riquet undertook one of the great engineering feats of the age, the Canal du Midi, cut from Toulouse all the way to the Mediterranean. The city that lost a civilization began to build like one again. And in the 20th century, Toulouse became something nobody could have predicted. France placed its aerospace industry here, in this southern brick city, far from Paris. Concorde was built in Toulouse. Airbus is headquartered here. France runs its space program from this city. The city that the Pope tried to erase 800 years ago is now the city where Europe builds its airplanes. Most cities have one story. Toulouse has a stack, a Roman town, a Visigoth capital, a crushed civilization, a pilgrim crossroads, a university built to suppress what came before it, a canal cut to the sea, an aerospace empire. The same pink brick has watched all of it. Some cities choose what they will be. Toulouse keeps having to choose again. Next, we leave the south and head somewhere France keeps its oldest secret. We'll tell you when we get there. Subscribe to GoBeyondia.